I'm a little bit excited today. I have some things to show and tell. It's not really exciting stuff, but it's exciting to me. Roll time. So you guys, if you follow my videos, you know that I've been really getting into kayaking this year. A little bit of kayak fishing. I'm not a good fisherman by any means, but I do enjoy it. That's what counts. So I was going to show you a modification I'm doing. And a couple of these small rivers and creeks that we go down, what happens is we wind up maybe finding a little spot you want to fish, like where a tree has fallen down over the river and you think there may be a bass underneath there, so you paddle over, you set your paddle down, you get your rod out, you throw your bait over, and you do this a couple times, a few casts, and the natural current of the river is pushing you further and further away. Well, they sell little anchor kits and whatnot, and I've been in a situation where I felt like if I had a small lightweight anchor that I would be a lot better off for fishing. So of course I didn't buy the anchor that they sell. I don't really like those collapsible anchors. They look a little bit they just kind of look clumsy. So I thought, well, what can I do as far as a DIY anchor? And I don't know how well this solution is going to work, but let me show you what I got. So most of those anchors are 3 to 5 pounds. So what I decided to get is I'm going to call it a dumbbell. It's a small 5-pound dumbbell, and this is some type of rubber or plastic coating. So if I don't think I'll drop it, but if it clangs around in the boat, I don't think there's any danger of it hurting the inside. And I went ahead and tied a couple of knots. I was never really much of a Boy Scout, but if you look right here, let's see, I've got it secured on each end with a noose. I looked this up on the Grog animated knot site, and I've got this. I don't remember what that knot was right there. That's a mid loop or something like that, and I've just got one of these split rings up at the top. So from there I'll use some paracord and tie a line that this will come down off of. So if I'm in 10-foot deep water, I'll throw 10 feet of line out there, essentially, I guess. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to manage that. For the most part, we're in 5-6 foot deep water max. We don't have a lot of deep water that we go to around here, but I was thinking about affixing like a trolley type system. That's not what I intended. Yeah, I was thinking about putting like a trolley type system that runs from fore to aft. Let me see if I can get this. There we go. So, here's the front of my boat right here. So I would attach it somewhere like this right here on this handle. And I would do such with like a carabiner or like a loop of paracord and a carabiner, and I would stretch a cable, or not a cable, I keep saying cable, stretch a line all the way back to here and do the same thing and put like a carabiner right here. And I don't want like too tight ends, you know what I mean? I don't want it to be tight on both ends. So I've got this piece of, this was actually supposed to be a paddle hook, and it's this stretchy rubber material. So I think I'll make one end kind of stretchy, and the other I'll just basically tie on, and that will essentially stay all the time. In the middle I'll have a ring, another split ring. I mean, I got a ton of these things, These are really handy to have. By the way, guys, I don't know, carabiners and split rings are amazing when you pair them with like paracord, for instance. So I've got a few split rings that I can attach, and That way I can clip the anchor on and off. I can clip the trolley system on and off. And the idea is that I would have like a big loop that is somewhat taut thanks to the elastic here, that I could actually pull that string, kind of like an old clothesline, from cartoons. You could pull that string and move the anchor forward to aft. And I don't know what kind of advantage that has, but that's what I'm going for. So I'm gonna start tying some things and seeing what I can come up with, and I will. I don't know if I'll get to it tonight, but if I don't, I'll do it tomorrow night, and I will show you what I come up with. So thanks. Hey guys, so back here again. I kind of got my anchor trolley set up. It's really kind of primitive, and this is just kind of the revision 1.0. I started out, I was going to attach to the two handles forward and aft, and that was just too much. Sorry, a little shaky there. So I've kind of modified this to where I've only got a little bit of movement in the anchor itself, and I think that'll be more than adequate. So let me move some things around. I kind of got caught up. I was doing everything from tying a bait onto my fishing rod to everything else, but let me show you what I've got. I've got a couple of bungee cords on the deck of this thing. I think you can see this right here. That's like a bungee. They call it shock cord. I don't know why, but I've got a carabiner hooked in. Let's see if you can see that. I'm sorry, I'm using a front-facing camera and it's really difficult. Can you see that? There we go. Yeah, so I'm using a carabiner here. That's going to be the aft hookup. There's the seat right there. And at the forward side, one very important thing is you got to have a cooler. And I found a way to mount this cooler on the front. I use a couple of carabiners to that shock cord, and then I wind up putting a bungee over the top, and that really secures it so I can still reach my beverage of choice while I'm fishing without having to go behind me. So let me see if I can undo this one-handed. So this has got a little bit of spring action on it. Let's see. You guys see that? Yeah, okay. Carabiner here. So I'm going to run from carabiner to carabiner, and the idea is, hang on just a second, I'll show you. So there's that. Oh, here we go. So the idea is I have this loop of paracord with a ring, one ring to rule them all, and the idea is that I can move, it becomes like a pulley, so I can move that anchor by pulling on this, because it's going to be slipping between two carabiners, so I can move it that way, or I can basically move it back over to this side. I don't know if this is making sense or not, but so why do I need to move that ring? Well, so let me go ahead and hook this up. That ring is going to be the attachment point to the anchor. Is any of this making sense? So my anchor, which I showed you earlier, oh my gosh, is a 5-pound weight, which may wind up being too much or maybe just about right, that I have attached to a 10-foot piece of paracord with a carabiner on it. So I've basically got all of this, which I can't get it all in the picture at the same time. So I've got my anchor here in this line that is tied to this, which I used halyard, I believe halyard hitches on all that. It's black paracord, so the knot doesn't show, but it's another one I got from animatedknots.com, and I use halyard hitches on all the tie-off points for rings and carabiners. So basically I snap this on. Sounds like a car alarm. I snap that on to the ring in the middle there, and it's attached to this, and I drop my anchor. Pardon me. So I've got this springy tension here. There's my carabiner, there's the cord, and here's the ring. And on that ring, I've got this attached, which leads down to my anchor. So I should be able to pull that forward and aft. Good grief, I've got so much junk in here. Fore and aft to adjust my anchor position. What does that get me? I don't know. I don't know what that gets me, but if I need to move it aft or forward, I've got that capability, really. And it didn't cost me but 2 carabiners to get in a split ring to get there. So I don't know anything about knots. I love knots. Like I said, I use halyard hitches on all this stuff. One thing I did is I wasn't sure how much line I needed for my anchor. So, and I'll never know this. I said 10 feet because 10 feet should be plenty. I'll drag the anchor, whatever. But I did say, well, what if I'm in really shallow water? So what I did was I tied some loops, which this is called an alpine or a butterfly loop. And I tied that in there. So really, if I want to, I can shorten this thing by that much by just tying onto that loop through the carabiner. And that's at about, I think that's at about the 3 foot mark. Yeah, that's maybe 2 to 3 foot. I just kind of rough measured 10 foot and started tying knots. And I said, well, what if I'm in even shallower water, which is the case quite a bit. I might be in 2 or 3 feet of water. I made another loop here, so I could clamp on right here and then clamp this to the ring. You get where I'm going. So at that point, I'm just going to gather this extra cord up in this hand. So at that point, I've only got that much length on my anchor. Now, you know, do I need an anchor with just 3 feet of length on it? I don't know. But I went ahead and tied the knots while I was doing it because the alpine loop is something it's fairly easy to tie, and it's pretty functional because it's in line. You know, you're not going to lose anything just by having that little loop there. So if I find kind of a sweet spot through using this as far as where I could put another loop, absolutely I'll do it. But this has kind of been a fun project, and I'm hoping to get to try it out tomorrow. We haven't had a lot of rain in North Alabama in the past month or so. So I don't know what that's going to do as far as where I'm at, what kind of anchor I'm going to need, I'm going to be able to use, but I'm going to try it out tomorrow. So anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this. Sorry it's so long, but you know, I'm really not good at explaining this kind of thing. You guys have a good night.